All right, it's time for another movie review. Papillon, man. It's French for butterfly. Go see it last night, and it was directed by Michael Noir. Now it started with Charlie Hunnam. He played as Perry, and this was a gentleman, I guess, in the 1930s in Paris. He was a safecracker, and he was just known for just just being a dealer in a way, man. He used to steal and smuggle diamonds, and he had like a few thousand millions of dollars, and he worked for this kingpin at the time. And it was started off in the 1930s in Paris. He was just with this woman that he met in the club. He was just all notorious for this. He was cool until then. This when it started going kind of crazy when I knew that when he met, he talked to his boss, and it was this dude that double crossed him, and he was just showing him, hey man, this is what I do to people who cross me. So they beat him, punched him in the stomach multiple times. They had him tied up, and I guess eventually they killed him. They didn't show that in the movie, but until then, he went back, to his apartment with this woman. Woke up next day, and then it was these prisoners, not these prisoners. I'm sorry, it was the police officers that was acting like they were just like maids or something. So they knocked on the door. He opened the door, like, boom, you going to prison, for the murder of boom 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 this pimp here. He was like, hey, I wasn't there. I mean, I was with her the whole time. I didn't kill this man. I had no blood on my hands. So they wasn't hearing it. They wasn't buying it. They didn't even do a thorough investigation. They just threw my man in prison. And so his woman all crazy, like, oh God, like, what are you doing? No, don't bring no bitch. And so he's like, I'll be back. I promise I'll be back. So as the movie progressed, he goes to this Pinot County or La Transportation, okay, and this is like a prison that's isolated in a freaking island. It's called Devil's Island. It's really bad. It's sort of like Alcatraz in freaking San Francisco on the Bay. It's really bad, or it's like 10 times worse than Rikers Island, I want to say, in New York. But anyway, so he was with these prisoners and everything. They all lined up, walking there, and so until they met the guard, and they just say, hey man, I was going to the stations, going to their prisons duties. They put on their prison uniforms. Till then, he actually he was introduced to this young man here. He was a millionaire, but throughout the counterfeit transactions, and so therefore he was in prison for life for that. And he felt like, well, that's like he wasn't in prison like he was going to get out earlier, well, sometime later this year, that year. Around Christmas. And so he met his wife. He told his wife that what was gonna go on. I'm gonna befriend this man. So he befriended this dude because he was a millionaire. He felt like hey, listen man, I'm gonna protect you until your appeal comes, and just don't forget about me, man. If you can pay my bond, I get out of here, and then next we can live our lives comfortably, man, successfully. He was like, okay. And the dude that was really fragile, he was small, he really couldn't fight, couldn't defend himself. So Charlie, he took that opportunity, like, okay, I'm going to protect you in exchange for my freedom. So it started getting kind of interesting as the movie progressed. And when they was in a prison cell, this one big dude, cutting this dude up, gutting him out, cut his intestines out just to take his money out of him because this dude swallowed one of his diamonds. So he can get out, and then next thing you know, just cut his stomach open and just got it, and the prison guard's like, hey, what the hell is going on? And so the dude that he was supposed to protect was Louis Daga. Louis Daga was going to be next, and he understood that he know what was going on because they were all in a tent together before they reached the island, so they was all on the ship, and all the prisoners all in one cell, and which is really dangerous. And so he kind of knew what was going on. He peeped game. Late at night, he grabbed a knife and he was going to stab and cut open Louis Daga. And so he was like, no. And so this one, it was this big fight. He grabbed his legs, started beating my man's down, like, hey, what you doing? Not, so it was just like, it was going real crazy. He was like, oh my God. So he didn't kill the dude, but he was brutalized, man. And so that's when he got into account, like, okay, now you need to be separate. He's like, no, I need to be with you. So the guards didn't really peep game like that. So they end up like, just being with each other for a little bit. Until then, they had to go to Roof 10. I guess Roof 10, that's another part of the prison sentence, prison area. So they had to go to prison work. They had to do like a harsh and menial labor. Had to pull like these train manually. They had to like just work the yard and just hit the rocks, man. It was really unbearable in the hot sun. And Louis Daga, was just, let's say, very small, man. He was just kind of weak, man, in his muscles, and he didn't know how to do it. Like, he couldn't breathe, doing the appropriate exercises. He didn't have any type of endurance. So all the other prisoners was getting upset, like, man, this weakling over here, man, he's the weak link. Like, we need to get him eliminated, right? So they was getting upset. He was like, hey man, this is my dude, man, leave him alone, he all right. And then they started talking, as the movie progressed, they started talking about a way to escape. He was like, listen, man, you know, I've been here for just murder, even though something I didn't do, and I witnessed it. And my life's just going to be ruined. So listen, I'm going to protect you, but don't begin to know unnecessary stuff. Seriously. And, you know, they agree. And he was like, listen, man, you know, I know somebody who got a boat. I got a lot of money on me right now. If we can get there, we can talk to him, negotiate or some type of deal, then maybe we can go onto this other island, go on this boat, go onto this other island, and then we can live our lives and, you know, experience freedom. He said it's possible. We just need a few men on the crew. And, you know, he was taking that into consideration and all that stuff. And, you know, they was like, okay, all right. So, you know, of course, it was a lot of unnecessary fight scenes. They was in the shower. Dude want to fight him for no reason, man. Just fight him and kill him and take the money. And, you know, he was defending himself and standing his ground. Louis Dago was just going in there. But as the, you know, this movie moved on, I want to say in Act 2, the real conflict really started when they was separated. They made an escape, and this would really confuse me a little bit, twisted. They made an escape, right, to this mysterious island. And so when this woman said, hey, I know where you came from. You need to talk to God. You need to repent, when they made an escape and everything. Or actually, before they made an escape, they gave the money to the dude that had the boat. And they gave the money to the dude that had the boat, and then he actually turned them and ran them out. So I'm looking like, okay, this dude is working for the guards. This is like, it's kind of no way for them to get out of here. I mean, seriously, they in the middle of a ocean, you know, got sharks and everything, and I mean, they can barely swim because they, you know, it's just they have to ride the tide, so they ain't really have any type of resources. Then they got people that's gonna rat them out. They couldn't trust. People just wanted money. You give them money, and they still unhappy. But when they gave him the money, it was another second attempt. They gave him the money, went back there, got to an island, and he was called into solitary confinement. Now, when he was in solitary confinement, it's when he actually hit a guard, and the guard was unconscious. He hit the guard on the side of the head with a rock. And it was a dude that was, it was so much stuff going on in the movies. I'm probably like fast forwarding and missing some scenes, but it was a dude that actually, you know, hurt himself so he could be in a different type of setting of the prison. Because they was all in it. It was at least 3 or 4 men. They was in on it. And, you know, they was in for the protection and for the freedom. And I felt like, okay, these are smart individual people, man. If I can really get close to them and befriend them, then maybe I can get out of this hellhole that I'm in. And it started getting kind of crazy when they put Charlie Hunnam in solitary confinement. And I like how the director did that, man, because he was there for like maybe a couple years, man, and he was just, you know, going kind of crazy by yourself. He's locked, and they was giving him coconuts, stuff to eat. He was working out, and he started having hallucinations when he started thinking about his wife, the good times that he had in Paris. I like how the director infused that in the scenes, man, and it made him think that it had this, it was very symbolic because it made sense. They had this little safe here, and the safe was him putting his money together, and he knew the combination by heart. But when he tried to open the combination in the cell, even though it wasn't there, he was unable to do it, and he felt depressed. And I think that's one of the psychological issues that happens in prison. You know, people start having flashbacks of their lives and their good times, and I think that's just how the devil has the ability to deceive individuals, man. And so he didn't kill himself, thank goodness, but they were surprised too, because a lot of people killed themselves. People was jumping off, they self-harm themselves, inflict themselves, and he's just continuously, you know, to obey by the rules. And of course, he was still getting beaten by the guards, and they wanted to know who was giving him food, giving him luxurious food, and he didn't give them the answer. And it was a dude named Louis Dago, and Louis Dago at the time was working with the guards all that time when Charlie was in solitary confinement. He was working with the guards, and because they liked, you know, based on good behavior, and they feel like, okay, well, he is a good man, you know, in this prison so far. We're just gonna reward him. He's gonna work for us. And that's when he started writing letters. He started helping out with discharges of the prisoners. And he kind of forgot about Charlie, but he thought Charlie forgot about him. And that's when he was in after they took him out of solitary confinement, because they said in one of the rules, if you kill one of our guards, you're going to be executed. They had a scene when they beheaded this young man because he tried to escape and he didn't make it, but he killed someone. You know, he killed the guard. And they don't play that, and then they beheaded him right in front of everybody. It was just getting really brutal, man. The fight scenes was just extremely brilliant. It was good. I was really sucked into it. But after, you know, they kept my man out of took my man out of solitary confinement, he went with Louis Dago, and Louis Dago was like, "Oh shoot, what's up, man? What's going on? You back?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm back." Like, got a plan. He said, listen, they got this film right here. They formulate another plan. This is like the third attempt. Hey man, you know, they're gonna be watching the film, this King Kong movie in 1930, so there's gonna be a lot of former politicians there. It's gonna be loud. The guards gonna be working double duty. It's possible, but we have to be cautious. Okay, we gotta have stealth. Can't make a lot of noise. We gotta do some distractions of this guard here, because this guard wanted to have sex with one of the men there, so he had one of the men to distract the guard, and so they can go in here and escape, because he said it's gonna be loud music, it's gonna be loud, so they really want to hear the gunshots. And then they had like drugs to actually make people pass out, so it was kind of crazy, man. They had all that stuff going on, man, so they had it planned out. They talked to the one prisoner, he was in on it. I think it was about like 4 men, and they ended up escaping. They went back to the dudes, you know, that brought them out, ratted them out, and they actually had the real money. And so this was cool. I was like, okay, wow, they about to enjoy their freedom. So they went out and sailed out into this mysterious island, and it was looking kind of weird, but it took them a while to get there. That was by boat, and they was there into this mysterious island. There was women there, people was taking care of them. And then when this one woman said, when I said earlier in this video, he said, hey, I know where you came from. That's when it struck me like, wait a minute, they might need to get out of there. And so the guards kind of knew where the prisoners was going to. This is probably the next nearest destination. That's when the prisoners, guards started going out there. They killed one of the dude, and he told them, look, we got to get the hell out of here. And they got caught, and they went back to Devil's Island. Now, they was far away. They went to a different part of the prison. And towards Act 3, when they went back to the order prison, you know, they was well, actually, it was a one fight scene. I'm sorry, this one dude, they was on a boat before they went to the island. They had Louis Dega repeatedly stabbed this man because, you know, Louis Dega broke his leg, and it was a huge storm. There was so much water coming into the boat, and so they was arguing with that. He said, hey, listen, you're not gonna kill him without me, you know, without going through me. So he was like, what? And, you know, and then he choked him out, and Louis Dega got the, you know, balls enough to just grab a knife and stab him repeatedly. They threw his body off the water. It was just so much gruesomeness. I know I'm going all over the place though, but it was crazy, man. But I really enjoyed the film. I'm gonna go and say towards the end, he finally escaped. You know, Charlie Pittman, he finally escaped. He understood that the tides and the waves, that, hey, I can stay afloat. It's buoyant. You know, it's a lot of salt water. All I have to do is just, he had a lot of like artificial stuff in a bag and a ball, and he tested it out, and it was just floating. It wasn't sinking. And so he said, listen, I'm gonna tie this up in a bag, and I'm just gonna float in the bag until my freedom. And so, you know, Louis Dega's like, listen, you know, you can come with me. He's like, no, I'm not. I think that I belong here. You know, his wife left him, married his lawyer. He didn't get out, you know, he's anytime soon. So he's there for a long time, man. And he said, hey, you go out here and you should take care of yourself, man. I would be okay. So Charlie was like, all right, cool. He left, boom, and sailed on to victory, man. I didn't think he was going to make it. I thought he was going to die of starvation, but he actually ended up making it. And it started with 1969, and ended with that when he went to Venezuela to change his life, and he was applying for a company position, a leader position, and he wrote a memoir. He wanted that published, and he was just talking about the things that he had to endure as a young man in that prison cell, and all the young men that died and trying to achieve freedom. And he said it was very hard, and that was a very emotional scene to me. And then the movie, you know, went off, but it was really good. They said about over 80,000 prisoners, man. They were in there since in the 1930s, man. A lot of them did not escape. And it was a really crazy movie, man. The scenes and everything, I didn't know how it was going to end. It really drew me in. It was very creative. I was very pleased. I have to give this movie maybe, I want to say a 9.4 out of 10. 9.4 out of 10. I know that's a high rating, but it deserved it. If you go ahead and watch this movie, see it, man. I think it was based off of a 1973 film. Mike Noir did a great job. Andrew Guzik, I think he wrote the screenplay of the movie, but, you know, shouts out to all the screenwriters on that film. You guys did an excellent job. It kept me guessing. I was in my seat. I wasn't bored in every single minute. And it was a little long, but at the same time, it made sense, though. I understood it, you know, and it just made you think, like, how this movie was going to end. I thought it was going to be, like, another, like, Inception type of movie. Like, okay, you got to figure out how's this movie going to end. But for the most part, it was good. Continue to do what you do, Mike Noir, man. That was good. And yeah, I was completely satisfied. The fight scenes, and like I said, it was bloody as crap, man. But I just like how they did a lot of things in the prisoner's perception. But yeah, if you guys love those type of movies, man, you know, I go ahead and watch it, man. It was really good. It was very accurate, and I didn't think it was based on a true story. But yeah, I looked it up and it was, man. You know, he actually wrote a memoir about his life. I think it was published in France. Like sold over 1 million copies, man. But yeah, you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. That's my movie review, 9.4 out of 10, Papillon. Go ahead and watch that, man. I'm out. Deuces.